A new survey shows LGBTQ plus vote may decide who wins Florida governor's race. A recent poll by GLAAD shows that LGBTQ plus Floridians are more concerned than ever about their rights. 77% of respondents strongly agreed with the statement, quote, basic human rights for women and LGBTQ Floridians are starting to be taken away by elected officials currently in charge of Florida's government, end quote. 67% of respondents were strongly motivated to vote in 2022 because of the issues LGBTQ plus individuals are facing, with 58% showing they were even more motivated to vote than they were in 2020. Remember Donald Trump? GLAAD CEO and President Kate Ellis said of the survey, quote, Florida's LGBTQ voters and ally voters have grave concerns about the basic human rights, including access to abortion, freedom of speech, and evidence-based health care for LGBTQ youth. They're motivated to make a difference in this crucial election, end quote.
This is a crucial time. We have to vote now more than ever. And so I'm not surprised. I think all queer people are super motivated. We saw what happened with Roe versus Wade, and it's completely ridiculous. So we have to get out and vote.
I think with what's being pushed right now, if we don't actually use the rest of the voice that we do have available to us, I mean, those numbers are massing somewhat, just over 1 million, as far as the 22 million, where the LGBTQ community, Q plus community, makes up 4.6% thereabout. So, I mean, we actually have the numbers to make a huge difference in this election. It'd be great to actually see us use that voice once again before it gets taken from us.
But my question is, what's going to get us out? What's going to do it? Is it going to be the Democratic nominee? Is it going to be our desperation for it? Or are we just voter fatigued? Are we just not going to show up?
I think now more than ever, we're realizing that our human rights are at stake. And it's been an eye-opener that if it doesn't happen now, we are going to be stripped of the things that make us who we are.
You know, one of the things that there's good news in this GLAAD report. What it is indicating is that the survey results are saying that LGBT is going to be the issue of the election. This election cycle in Florida, LGBT is going to be the central issue.
Wow.
And that's both in our community and our allies outside of our community. That is really, really good news. It's a glimmer of hope that maybe we're not going to face the catastrophe that 3 or 4 or 5 months ago we thought when Don't Say Gay started that we might face. To Ty's question, I think that that's the real heart of this. Have we taken enough body punches to say, wait, we're getting out there no matter what, we're showing up no matter what? That's the question, I think, still to be decided. But the good news there is they don't need a lot of us. I remind you, the Democrats lost to Gillum in the last cycle for governor by 13,000 votes. And what that brought, the lack of 13,000 votes, is this guy named Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
13,000 votes.
What a mistake.
8.1 million votes. 13,000 is all that was necessary. Brought us Ron DeSantis. Nikki Fried is the only statewide Democratic serving member of the Florida cabinet. 8.1 million votes. And I remind you there, she won by only 4,000 votes. But what did that 4,000 votes bring us? That 4,000 votes brought us in agriculture, but more importantly, most importantly, in consumer affairs and consumer services, a very pro-LGBTQ agenda in Florida, including the first ever appointment of an LGBT activist for consumers in Florida, Nick Harris, and did such a good job, the HRC came in and hired her away. And now we have Nathan Brummer as a trans activist working for Nikki Fried, and has just done amazing things in visibility for LGBT and the trans community. 4,000 votes out of 8.1 million brought that to us. Is this election incredibly
It's cutting it
important?
It's super
close.
important.
It is
No.
incredibly
We
important.
all have to get out and mobilize.
Well, I think also with that, you know, we're sitting and having a conversation that maybe some other people aren't having. So, like for those people that, for those of us that are having this type of discussion around the dinner table or over a drink,
Mhm.
like we need to be knocking on the next door neighbor's door and
Absolutely.
saying, "Hey, I'm going to be your accountability buddy. Let's do this together. I don't want to stand in line alone. Like that sucks. Standing in line waiting to vote. I know what I'm doing it for, but sometimes it'd be nice to just kind of kick the bubble with a friend.
Mhm.
So maybe we do something like that. That would
Mhm.
sounds trite, sounds simplistic, but it definitely would help.
It would.
I'm curious, Ty, do you think, to your question, do you think we're going to come out November 8th?
I'm
You're still pessimistic.
I'm pessimistic.
Yeah.
I'm pessimistic.
Yeah. So GLAAD's reporting, while I make the note, is optimistic. You're saying basically it's easier to say yes on a poll than to actually
That's exactly where I was going to go. Yeah.
turn out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I get a phone call and they say, "Are you going to do this?" I say, "Sure, I'll do it." Do I show up on the day? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. One last note before we move on to our next story. I've interviewed in the last week and a half every major candidate running in Florida. Val Demings for U.S. Senate. She's running against this guy. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh yeah, Marco Rubio. What did he do in the last week? He said gay marriage is a stupid waste of time.
Mm.
How can we be any
Wow.
more motivated against
Wow.
a candidate that would say such a thing? I interviewed Nikki Fried. I interviewed Charlie Criss, who is going to be, after the primary at the end of this month, running against Ron DeSantis. All three of them said to me in context that the LGBTQ community is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly important in this election on November 8th. And not for why we think. It's not of the 8.4 or 8.1 million, maybe 8.5 million votes are coming November 8th. It's not the volume, it's the quality. Because if LGBT turns out in Florida, DeSantis is defeated and Marco Rubio is defeated. Because why? They know, all of their polling shows, they're after the 1 to 2% that they hope to win the election by. And where they get it is in LGBT.
It's that tipping point.
It's the tipping
So we've
point.
gotta show up.
Exactly.
We've got to show up.
So to Ty sets it up perfectly. I'm pessimistic. And that's what we have to fight every
I'm
step
just
of
going to
the
have
way.
to give them more than the tip.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more than that. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.